I've been on all sides of the layoff nightmare. I've been a victim myself, the manager in the room, and the executive responsible. In my over 40 years in business, including being the VP of HR at Microsoft, I've seen too many layoffs for one lifetime. Today, I'm an advisor to executives and others who face this from both sides. Part of my work is to help the people affected. One way I've helped is with a comprehensive guide to doing layoffs well. It's everything I've learned about how a company can make a layoff work for everyone involved, as much as it can. It's called Layoffs Done Right, and you can find a link in the description. But I'll be honest, most companies don't do that. They handle layoffs badly. In the last few years, even the last few weeks, we've seen a parade of companies handle layoffs with process and timing that verges on cruelty. I'm looking at you, Spotify. To help you survive a layoff, here's what I would do if I was laid off. I should note that I'm not a lawyer and none of this is legal advice. It's just what I would do. The first and most important thing to do is breathe, or at least not act rashly. You'll be told you're laid off and almost instantly there'll be a flurry of paperwork shoved at you. It's in the company's interest to get this over instantly, to get you out, to get your file closed, and move on. That saves them time, money, and drama. They'll offer you a tidy package with pages and pages of stuff, then ask, even demand, that you sign it. Don't. Not right away. I need time to understand all this. You should take it home and read the information comprehensively. Every single word. Some of it will be legalese. Some of it will be intentionally complicated. Some of it will be optional but not say so clearly. All of it will be important and binding, so understand it before you sign anything. You should consider, at least for a moment, if you have any leverage in the situation. Leverage can come in many forms. Perhaps you're in a protected class, age, gender, and so on. Perhaps you have a condition that changes your status. You're pregnant or on medical leave or something like that. Perhaps you have extended tenure or specialized knowledge that the company is dependent on. This leverage may allow you to push back on the package you've been offered. It rarely reverses the layoff decision, but it might change the terms. You might press for a larger severance or longer benefits or some other modification to the terms. If you're part of a large layoff, more than a dozen or so, your leverage is diluted substantially. If it's a major layoff, hundreds, your leverage is very limited. The company will have invested huge amounts of HR and legal time making sure the package is correct and legal, and they'll have little stomach for any changes for an individual. But in my opinion, you should almost always try. You don't get what you don't ask for, so pushing back by asking for a larger severance, perhaps longer healthcare coverage, even a later termination date is worth a shot. Make the case not on sympathy, but on business terms. You need time to organize and document your work for the successor. You're in a specialized field where it will take longer to find another job. You have a medical need pending that requires coverage throughout. Some case that speaks business and money, not heartstrings. The worst they can say is no. If, however, you are in a protected class or have some special status, you should consider getting legal advice. There are many great employment law attorneys in virtually every jurisdiction in the world. Consider talking to one of them, even just to review the paperwork. I recommend talking to a lawyer who works on contingency. They charge nothing up front, but take their fees from any resulting settlement. The advantage is clear from an economic perspective. You don't have to find a substantial fee at a time when you have just lost your income. But the real advantage is that you can test your case. A lawyer who works on contingency won't take a case they don't have a solid chance to win. If they won't take your case, it's a stiff uphill battle. I strongly recommend against funding your own case. This often happens out of anger or a desire for revenge. You're mad and the lawyer won't take it. I understand. But you're facing a company with substantial resources, and you're also now out of work. Unless you face the potential for a huge upside, with punitive damages well beyond simple restitution, you're unlikely to come out ahead financially. And if there was such an upside, a contingency attorney would have taken the case. So talk to a lawyer even if you're just thinking about it. Here too, the worst they can say is no. Okay, it's over, you're done, it's time to look ahead. If you haven't already done it, you really need to tune up your resume. And today that also means your LinkedIn profile. Love it or hate it, LinkedIn is just about the best place to see and be seen in the business world. I've recommended in previous videos that you always keep your resume and LinkedIn tuned up. It should have the latest work you're doing, your latest position and titles, your latest big accomplishments. It should use the latest terminology for whatever you're working on. It's your face to the working world, so be proud of it. Keeping these up to date on a running basis is best, to be sure. But if you haven't, you really need to get on it now. You can find more information and opinions on resumes and LinkedIn profiles on social media than you could ever use. Certainly review what they say and listen to a lot of the various perspectives. But do what feels right for you and your career. Don't pay a resume guru or LinkedIn wizard to help you. There are enough people giving great advice for free. Don't spend hundreds of your precious dollars no matter how desperate you feel. Their advice will be from their well-worn playbook and probably won't represent you as well as you can yourself. The next thing to consider after your profile is perspective is should you go public about your situation. There are 3 typical choices. The stealth option is to simply change your end date on your current job on LinkedIn, nothing more. The modest option is to do that and then make a small post on LinkedIn. I recommend at most a couple of sentences. I'm sorry that I was recently affected by the layoff at company name. I enjoyed my time there and look forward to my next adventure. Or something similar. Good friends and contacts will reach out to you, which is exactly what you want. See the next section on working your network. But the crucial point is you aren't making a scene. The last option is the extended post. These often have details of the events leading up to it, lots of gory details, and frankly TMI, too much information. These posts are frequently filled with vitriol for the company and lots of appeals to sympathy. I strongly recommend against this kind of post. You're burning the bridges behind you. People you might use as connections or references will get damaged by the shrapnel. Worse, you're telling any potential future employers that you're prone to drama, that you don't handle adversity well and often do so publicly. So stick to a modest post and save the drama for the private conversations with your friends over a drink. There's also been a recent debate about whether you should have the open to work flag on your LinkedIn profile. There are a lot of things to worry about when you're out of work, and this probably is not one of them. But if it was me, I'd first try to connect with my network, to try to find a job through people I know. And if that fails, go for a more broad-scale approach, such as looking at job sites and changing my profile on LinkedIn to indicate I'm looking. The most important forward-looking advice is to dig deep into your network. Connect with everyone you know who might have knowledge of an open position. The very best hires are made through connections. From both sides, a job placement made via a personal connection is the best. The hiring company has the advantage of knowing you're a credible person, and you have the advantage of knowing someone who works there. It's a win-win. Connect with lots of people, tens of them, all preferably one-on-one, maybe for a Zoom or a coffee. Check up on them, not on you. Of course they know you're reaching out only because you're out of work. That doesn't mean you have to make it all about you. Ask what they're doing, what's interesting, what's hard, what makes them happy where they work. Ask great questions about their job and their life. Get them to thinking you're a thoughtful, smart person who they'd like to work with. You don't need to tell them you're out of work. They already know that. And you probably don't want to ask them for leads to open jobs. That feels like an obligation to help you. Rather than ask about openings, offer a chance to expand your mutual networks. Are there people in the security field I should know? Are there people I should meet? This feels less like you asking them to help you find a job and more like a network expansion, one that helps you both. The obvious underlying point is that you need a job. They know that, but framing it this way makes it less about you and not the whole point of the conversation. Maybe the answer is no, not now, but you've planted a great seed and expanded your network. The person you talk to will be at some meeting or conference or dinner with a friend who says, "We're having such a hard time finding someone for this job." And your contact will say, "I know someone," and off you go. So plant lots of seeds. If it's taking a long time, water them by circling back around a month or so later. Yes, of course, you should consider applying for jobs from people you don't know. I'll have a post soon about the research you should do when you do that. But never sell your connections short. Even if you're not laid off, you should be building your network. It's your most important career asset. A great network is what will get you through being laid off. They'll be a source of support and encouragement. They'll be a source of ideas and more connections, and they could well be the source of your next job.